So you want to know if Agent Avenue is any good? Should you be adding it to your collection? Well, let's go over roughly how it plays, and then I'll give you some pros and cons. And just so you know, NerdLab did send it to me for the review. The game of Agent Avenue is a very simple one. It's a one-on-one, two-player game where you are effectively chasing the opponent round this town, around the edge of this board, and you are trying to catch the other person up. By doing so, you're uncovering their disguise, and you are the agent that has won. How does this all work? Well, on a turn, you are either giving or receiving a choice from your opponent. So let's say it's your turn. You look at your hand of 4 cards and you pick 2 different ones and you place them onto the table. One of them you put face up, the other one you turn over and put face down, so your opponent doesn't know what it is. Now, your opponent gets to choose one of the 2 options, either the one that's face up or face down. Do they take the potentially bad one that's face up, or maybe even good-looking card that's face up, or risk going for maybe a bigger reward of what is face down? And that's the crux of Agent Avenue. In this gameplay, you are taking cards either blindly expecting your opponent to have bluffed you, or just sort of going for the one that's face up. Yeah, that seems kind of good. I'll take that and hope that they've not sort of put a super card underneath. Your opponent has recruited one of the 2 agents, you get whichever one is left, and then you reveal and both of you simultaneously move, hopefully clockwise around the board. Why? Because you're chasing each other in that direction, which means if you get a card that gives you a -1 movement, you're moving 1 step anti-clockwise, and they're probably going to be catching you up on the track. These cards come with a variety of different numbers, and it's not just about the numbers. There's an instant lose and an instant win variant as well. To determine how far round you're actually moving the track, let's have a look at an example. Let's say from the recruit step you've taken the enforcer and it's the first one you've got. Well, you look at the top of the card and it's 1 movement. The next time you recruit an enforcer, it basically gets sat on top and you move 2. Now, the third time you get an enforcer, it's the third value down, that's a 3, and every subsequent enforcer is also worth 3 movement. But some of the other cards are a bit more fun. The double agent is a great example. The first time you take one, it's -1, so you're moving backwards on the track. However, the second time you take it, it's 6 movement forwards around that track, which is a huge jump on a turn. And then, after that, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, etc., they're all worth -1. And then you have the Codebreaker, who it doesn't give you any movement the first 2 times, but is the instant win if you get a 3rd one. And then you have the Daredevil. They give you 2, then 3 movement, but if you take a 3rd, you are out. You have basically hit that instant loss condition. You go until someone has won, someone has lost, or the card pool has run out and you can't do any more of the play 2 cards offering to the opponent sort of thing. At that point, it's whoever's closest to catching the other player wins, and there are sometimes some ties. It is actually possible for one person to win the game via getting the 3 Codebreakers while being caught by their opponent. Another win condition. In these cases, if it's 2 people winning, whoever has actually got the sort of active player, whoever is making that sort of win on their turn, they're the winner. That's how you split the tie breaks. So, you know, having that advantage on your turn is quite useful. That's the basic game. There is an advanced mode, which we'll touch on in a little bit, but I really want to say that is the core essence of the game, which means it's super quick, simple, and easy to teach. It's very intuitive. Once you've put the 2 meeples down onto the track, you can see that with these sort of arrowed corners, you are going clockwise around this track and you are trying to catch the other person up. By taking those cards, one being face up, one being face down, it really builds in some tension into those offers that you're going. Is the other person bluffing? Is the other person double bluffing? Last time they put a really bad card face down and I took it. have they done the same again, or are they putting this time a really good card face down where there's loads of movement on it? Thankfully, I took what I think was a good card, or maybe it was just a good card for me. Like that double agent, the first time you take it, it's actually putting you backwards on the track. But the second one, well, the second one is giving you huge movement. So maybe this one card would be bad for my opponent, but good for me. And that really does change throughout the course of the game. And if you keep track, because you can see what your opponent's played in front of them and what you've got played, you can see how these cards can be good or bad at different times. And that helps you bluff or not bluff, etc. You could also get to a stage where you know both of these cards are going to be bad for my opponent, but this one's worse. And I kind of would prefer this card, so then you can try and sort of influence their choice via that sort of face-up, face-down card. But again, that's something that's so easy to teach. Right, you have a hand of 4 cards, pick 2 different ones and put one face up, face down. Yeah, the first time they make that choice of putting one face up, face down, they might not make the optimum move, but as soon as they've done it, they understand the whole game. I'm taking a card, activating it, and moving around this track, hopefully capturing you, or maybe getting that third instant win card that triggers the set, and I am victorious. So I really love that sort of ease of play and getting the game to the table. I also really like the artwork in this one. Now, there's one thing that I hadn't noticed when I first started playing. It's that all of the cards of a certain type, well, they're the same creature, but they're in slightly different poses. It's just an extra thing they didn't have to do. And, well, it doesn't necessarily bring a big theme out in the game, but it's nice artwork to look at when you're playing. Now, what's going to keep this game from just being a very simple go round a track sort of thing? It's the advanced mode where their black market cards come into play. This sees you flipping the game board over, and on all 4 corners there are the black market symbol. If you manage to land on one of those, you instantly get to take one of the cards from the black market. And there's always 3, and as soon as you take one, it's refreshed from the deck. Now these have some really cool powers, like maybe if you land on either of the home spaces, basically where you start the game, you get bonus movement. Or maybe if your opponent ever lands and ends their turn on your home space, they lose. So it's actually giving new win conditions or stuff. Or there's one that's really cool that lets you play a card from your hand if you've got 2 of them. Now it's like, well, I'm not going to take that power unless I can do it. But I actually won a game. I had 2 code breakers played in front of me and I had 2 more of them in my hand, landed on the black market and managed to claim the black market card that I wanted, which is play or reveal 2 identical cards from your hand and play one of them in front of you. Boom! I'd won the game via the black market, and it just felt like a really big turn. I love it when games have this, where it's, these are your normal turns, but if you do this, it feels bigger, better, and that's what the black market adds. It just shakes things up from one game to the next. And with like 15 different black market cards, you're going to play a few games before you've even seen them if you're just sort of cycling your way through the deck rather than shuffling. But you shuffle them, it might be a good few games before this one black market card comes out and you've never seen it before. I also like the way that it alters the board and the choices. Those sort of cool choices of do I bluff or what? Well, all of a sudden it's not just necessarily I want the card that moves me furthest round the track. Maybe it's I want this card because it gives me 2 movement, and that 2 movement plops me perfectly on a black market space, allowing me to get maybe an ongoing or an instant power. Overall, as you can tell, I've really enjoyed this one. It's got that sort of gameplay where you can get it to the table in a 2-player environment, play very quickly, and you'll instantly, well, we instantly did multiple rematches straight away. And hitting the table straight away, it's super quick to teach. So, you know, a short experience isn't marred by a long teach or even a teach that lasts as long as the game. No, the teach is kind of over in like 30 seconds for that sort of normal mode, and then you want to go through a few examples of the black market cards before you flip the board over and go for that. But that is there, and it will mean once you've played a few games, you're going to flip over and use that black market side. So the game sort of can grow a little bit with you, and I think that will help it, well, stay a bit fresher, but also means it will stick around in your collection for a bit longer. If you don't think much to the animals sort of theming, well, it's not that strong. I personally like the artwork and the way the sort of the animals are in the different poses and the different types. You know, the different animals. There's a mole that just makes you move backwards, for instance, that sort of thing. Well, I kind of like that, but it might not be for you. But it doesn't impact the gameplay at all. It's just the theming, and the theming doesn't feel that strong. It's mostly like a game of tag where you're trying to catch up with the other person around this track. It's a pretty small box, so you're going to be able to take this with you and play when you don't have very long, or you're waiting for that third player or whatever to join you. There is a team mode in there, but I don't think that's where this is going to really see much play, unless you're maybe teaming up with younger kids, so you can sort of help them out when sort of doing the different decisions. But cool bluffing, cool sort of experience that's over quick and making you want to go again or flip the board over and introduce that black market. I think Agent Avenue is going to sort of be enjoyed by many people that play it. Hopefully this has helped you know whether you'd want to give this one a go. I do really recommend this one. And, well, until next time, let us know in the comments section below if you've played the game, what you thought of it. Subscribe for more stuff. And, well, have a fantastic agent-filled good day gaming.